Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Four Gardens. Four Gardens is designed by Martin Dozel. Hopefully I said that name properly. And it is published by Arcane Wonders. Now, this is a 2 to 4 player game that has an amazing pagoda in it that you're going to be moving around during the game, and it's part of the Dice Tower Essential line. So first off, this had amazing table presence, and also being part of the Dice Tower Essential line, I was super excited to check this out. So you're going to be going through and you're going to be trying to create these beautiful panoramas throughout the game. And the person who scores the most points from creating these panoramas of different colors will win. Let's go ahead down to the table here. I'll show you how to play the game, or general idea how to play the game. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. This is Four Gardens. Long ago, in a beautiful eastern kingdom, a queen and her people pleased the gods by building their majestic pagoda, which is this guy right here. The pagoda housed the four gods and towered strong over the magnificent kingdom. As time passed, the queen fell ill, and she summoned her people to compete for her crown. The crown would be passed to the person who could build the most pristine garden around the pagoda. The heir would be judged by the four gods themselves. The goal of the Four Gardens is to accumulate the most points by completing landscape cards, which are these guys right here, and finishing sets. These finished sets are called panoramas, and they create a panoramic view of your garden. Your goal at the end of the game will be total of goodwill you've earned from the four gods, shown on the position of the track right here. So your final score will be your total on here, plus any of the extra reward bonus tiles that you were able to get throughout the game. The goodwill is earned by completing landscape cards. Landscape cards are completed by laying groundwork cards, acquiring resources, and allocating those resources to satisfy the requirements of each of the groundwork. For this game is very easy. Now, before the game, when you first get the game, you'll have to put together each of these pagoda pieces, but you'll randomly stack these on top of each other. Whichever bottom portion has the three goods, you'll set to 3, the next one to 2, then 1, then 0. Each player is going to pick a side. They're going to have the same total amount of goods available, but there'll be different quantities of each. And throughout the game, you'll be moving this pagoda around, and you will be, so you'll have more or less of the different goods available throughout the game. Now you'll also set out this goods tray. This goods tray comes with the game, so you just plop it out. Here's the points tray, which is the god's favor. Set everyone to 3, put a little cube out of their color. Then you're going to put these bonus tiles out. Then you're going to mix up this landscape deck, and you're going to put 3 cards face up there. And you're going to deal 5 cards to all other players. During your turns, so you're going to pick a first player, and then each player is going to take turns. During your turns, you're going to do 3 actions. You could do the same action repeatedly, or you could do 3 different actions. There are 4 total different actions that you could take during a turn. Now, the first action you could take is lay groundwork. You may play one of your cards from your hand and lay it down as for groundwork. Now, there's a couple rules for this. And you'll notice there's some things on the card. So here, you'll notice that there's 2 available dots here, and one is larger than the others on the right. For this red landscape, there's only 2 landscape cards available in the 2 different types of landscape tiles that you can put down for your landscape to complete it. So I only need the rightmost one and the leftmost one, and then I can complete this landscape. If I lay this one here is going to require 4, and this one here has, this one is the far left, and this is the second to the left from the left. So if I lay a groundwork card down, I can lay it down face down. Now there's a couple things to note on this card. For when you lay them down, the only thing that matters is the resources down on the bottom. Once I can place these resources on there, this card is completed. I'll return the resources to the box, and I'll flip this over, and I've completed this landscape card. And I will gain points. And I'll show you that in a little bit, but lay the groundwork and put this down, a card you want, and that's got a card that you're going to work on to complete. Now, you can never have 2 of the same type of cards, so even though this has different resources and has different abilities on it, this is considered the same type because This is the rightmost part of this landscape card. This is the rightmost part of this landscape card. I can't have two of these down ever. So this is the only other card that I could ever put down for completing that portion of the landscape. So that is basically lay groundwork. The next action you can take is rotate and collect. So rotate and collect, for my next action, I can discard this card. If I discard this card, I'm going to look over here. Now you'll notice that this is different on each of the cards, but this one happens to be I rotate either left or right at my choice, the bottom section, and I'll take goods from the top down. So if I rotate this section, let's say, you know what, I'm going to drop this down to 2. So now I'm going to go from the top down. So here I will gain a stone, here's 2 water, and here's 2 grass, but things are going to happen here. So I'm going to fill, this is the max amount of goods that I can have currently. So if I fill that, so from the top bottom, I put a stone on there, then I put my 2 water on there. I could only put 1 more grass, so I can't get every good that's showing on here. So that's why it's important whether you collect from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, and which one you rotate. So once I do that, I will discard that card. That will go over here, discarded. And that's the second action I can take. The third action is take a wild. If a card has a wild symbol on it, you may discard the card and collect a wild resource. All right, so if it has a wild symbol on it like here, you could actually take a resource you want from the supply, anyone you want. You could place it here if you had an open spot, but you could also put it on your Groundworks card. So if I discarded a card for its wild card, then I can actually place that resource on there and get closer to completing that card. The last thing I can do is every card on here has this little wheelbarrow on here. If I discard the card for the wheelbarrow, I get to reallocate resources. And there's a bunch of stuff you can do for this. All cards have that card symbol, like I said. During the reallocation action, you may freely move your resources around as much as you like in any combination of the 3 following methods. From your planning area, so this, to your active cart here, but it has to have an open space. You can move anything from your cart to your planning cards if there's a spot there available. And you could also discard resources off here to make room to get new resources. So on your turn, you'll be taking 3 actions, and those are the 4 options available. And you can repeat some of them if you wish. So, a couple things to get into. Well, one of the things we're going to get to is when we finish one of these cards. So we finish one of these cards, you're going to take the resources that completed it, put them back into the tray here for everyone, and flip the card over. You have now completed one of the landscape cards. All right, so how do you get points on this once you complete this landscape card? Well, when you complete the landscape card, you're going to flip the landscape card over, and you're going to take a look at the color here. And these are going to be the different gods that are available in here. And this one's blue, so I'll move this one point forward. So there's going to be ways that you could also capitalize on this. You will also gain rewards of any previously completed landscape cards that are the same set as the newly completed landscape card. So if I had another one here, so another red, I would also gain points for that one. So in some of these you could get a lot of points. Like here's this one goes up to 4 different ones. You'll score 1 when you first one, then you'll score when you finish the second one, you score twice. When you finish the third one, you score 3 times. And when you finish the 4th one, you'll score 4 more times. And you're going to move your marker each time. If your marker ever makes it to this 10 and you can't go any further, well, guess what you get to do, which is the chagrin of everyone else? You get to move theirs down every time you score. If you ever score enough to move theirs off the board, they can never score again in that color. So this can be a very mean game in that regard. So keep that in mind while you're playing. You probably want to keep an eye on what colors are other people completing. Now the multicolored cards here, if you end up completing one for those, you just pick which one you want to move up. All right, so the other cool thing is if I complete a panorama. So if I have both of these red, because there's only two, I complete a panorama, and then I get a bonus tile. I can't ever have more than one of any of these three different categories, but they all give different things. This one here gives an extra planning tile for my cart, so I can put it down there. And now I have an extra spot to store resources. The other one is going to be take wild. So if I take this one, I get to take a wild resource. Also, this is worth 4 points at the end of the game. And if I complete another one, I could take this one, and this one here is just straight up points at the end of the game. Now you'll notice that I picked up this 4, and now this is 3. These descend in value as time goes by, so you're going to try to maybe complete those panoramas as quickly as possible. Although, if you complete, like I said, the red one, you're not going to score a whole lot, so there's not a lot of chaining in there, but you'll get the bonus. So you have to balance that out a little bit. So you're going to continue playing. How does the game end? Well, the game is going to end when someone completes the prerequisite number of landscape cards. Now, for player count, this will change. So 4 players, someone needs to complete 8. 3 players, someone needs to complete 9. And 2 players, someone needs to complete 10. Once that's completed, you'll finish the current round and the game will end. And the person with the most points will win from their score on that track and their bonus tiles. So scoring is very quick and easy in this game. If there's a tie, it's broken by the highest number of completed landscape card. A second time is broken by the largest completed panorama. And that is how you play 4 gardens. Let's go ahead back up the table here and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so that was 4 gardens. 4 gardens component quality is amazing. I love that tower. That pagoda tower is great. It's really thick cardboard and it works really well. And I love the fact that they had a storage insert for it, so it keeps it all together nice and neat, and you don't have to worry about like it not fitting in the box anymore or having to tear it down completely, like you have to tear down the in the Great Wall game. You have to tear down all the wall pieces because they won't fit in the box. Well, that wears the cardboard down. This, it fits in perfectly. Really great, really well thought out. I'm not sure I'm like a huge fan of the resource trays that can be removed and put on there because they're not really that large, so it can be a little difficult getting that. I'm probably going to swap those out with my own little holders, and I only really mention that is because it's part of the game that you get in, so not a big deal. The wooden components, though, are amazing for the different resources. The cardboard's nice and thick. The art is gorgeous on this game. All that stuff is phenomenal. Well, what about gameplay? Well, gameplay for this is going to be on your family weight style game. It's nice and fluid and fun. I really like the decisions that I get from the multi-purpose cards. I'm also a giant fan of multi-purpose cards. So overall, this game is a really big hit for me. Do be aware that it's on a little bit of the simple side, but because of that, it's super easy to teach. So if you have people that maybe aren't completely into the gaming hobby, they can get into this game. Not only does it look beautiful, but since it's easy to teach and it's fun to play, you can maybe get them into this and other games in the future. I really like the other thing that's amazing in this game is I really like the decisions that you have to make when you're getting resources. Too many times in other games, you just get resources, you just get them. This one, you have to make decisions, and that pagoda just doesn't become like a toy in the game. It becomes an important puzzle on how you're going to need to move these around and what your opponents are moving to mess you up, so that when you collect your resources, you collect what you need, because you either have to go from the top to the bottom or bottom to top, and those middle resources are what's going to become for you the hard resources to deal with, because you're going to have to deal with that top and the bottom pagoda. Now, I do understand if you're doing from bottom to top, you're probably not going to get the bottom, but there's enough of those cards that you can probably pick. You'll probably have one or the other available to you. It's those middles that you're going to start filling up before you get to it. So really cool thought in that, and a lot of strategy in that. I also like that no matter what you're going to do, you're going to burn a card, but I really like that where you can move those resources around, clear out that tray being like, well, I needed to get the one thing, so I got 3 wood that I don't need, so let's get rid of that, so that now I can go bottom up and get different things that I need and complete these different landscapes. So it's a really cool mechanism in that, and also I really like the race element of the game, where, yeah, I'm trying to score these points on here, but you know what? I just need to finish these things, but I also need to not make sure I'm not knocked off the track. That can be majorly aggressive in this game. That is an incredibly aggressive element of this game, where you're going to potentially wipe someone out of scoring in a category. So you really have to watch for it. It can be really mean with that, which not like super mean, but nice sort of player interaction that it forces into the game that I think is good. So you do pay attention to what other people are doing. You're trying to make sure, like, hey, I know they're going to finish the fourth one here, and it's going to be like, they're going to move up so much and hit that top 2 times and push me down. I better do something to push myself up a little bit, because I do want to score some points in this. So really like that, really like all the strategy. Leads to a ton of replayability, because the way that this game is all about what the other players are doing, all about how they're moving the pagoda, all about what they're finishing, where they're on the scoring tracks. Just amazing game for that. So seeing that review and seeing how this game plays, if that seems like a game for you, I highly recommend picking this game up. I think it is great. I love everything about it. It's going to get to the table a lot in my family, and I believe it's going to be in my collection for a very long time. So super excited about this. So a couple caveats on that. Just remember, it's a lightweight game. So if you're looking for like a medium or heavyweight game, this isn't for you. If you're okay with a light family weight game that is really easy to teach but has a little bit of take that in it, I guess you'd call it that, then yes, Four Gardens is for you. And that's my thoughts on it. Thank you for watching.